Hey Internet, Eric here. Well, I'm finally at the end of my Leprechaun films retrospective series here on this channel. Slowly going through all the Leprechaun films to get to the new one. So, cutting to the chase, today I'm going to discuss the brand new Leprechaun film, Leprechaun Returns. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I do discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes, what have you. So, watch at your own risk, especially since this new one came out less than 3 weeks ago, maybe. So maybe not a lot of you have actually seen it yet. Basic plot is it's 25 years after the original film. It is a direct sequel to the original film. Now, it's not ignoring all the other sequels like they never existed, because if you think about it, the Leprechaun is never named. So you can look at it like he is a different Leprechaun in each story, just all played by Warwick Davis. So you can look at it like that. Like, it's not like the brand new Halloween film that's ignoring every single thing after the original. Anyways, um, direct sequel to the original, 25 years later. We're following the daughter of Tori, who was Jennifer Aniston's character in the first one. She is part of a sorority, and she's returning to the cabin, or she's going to the cabin that was in the first film. They've now turned it into a sorority house that is now off the grid, going green. Haha, wink, wink. Leprechaun going green. Which means, solar panels, water from the well, no electricity, that type of jazz. And she's there with her sorority sisters and a couple guys, and the leprechaun is awoken, and he wants to get all of his gold back that he did not get back by the end of the first film. And with the help of the returning Ozzy, once again played by Mark Holton, hilarity ensues. All right. Okay, let's see here. First, Warwick Davis is not back as the Leprechaun, and the reason why, he said that he's become a father since, I guess, the last Leprechaun, Leprechaun Back to the Hood, which he was in, and since he became a father, he's looking at horror movies differently, so he didn't want to do it. Either that or, no payday. I don't know. But we now have a new Leprechaun performer, Lyndon Porco. No idea who this guy is, but I want to say I had a lot of fun with this dude. He's portrayed differently than Warwick would have portrayed him, but he still brings a lot of fun to this little demonic little creature. He's still got the one-liners. I love his voice. I love his mannerisms. I love just the way he presents himself. Like, one of my favorite parts that he does is after he kills a person, we see him walking away through the woods, and he just jumps up and kicks his legs, like, the little Irish jig thing. Little stuff like that. He had me laughing out loud with a lot of his stuff. His one-liners are fun. I like how he's still, mind frame wise, he's still stuck in like 1993, because he mentions like a Walkman and stuff, and he makes an MC Hammer joke. And if you think about it, in the fact that he's been in that well since '93, it works. The comedy is good. The one-liners aren't overkill. Mark Holton is back as Ozzy. Very, very brief, but he looks rough, but I like how he's still simple Ozzy. You can tell he's lived a rough life from this. He's still got the scarred up ear, but he's still very likable, very, very sweet. One of my favorite scenes with him is when he meets Tori's daughter, and because he's the taxi service, and it's really cool that his taxi service is still out of the pickup truck from the part one. But he finds out that this girl is Tori's daughter, and they're driving. And first off, it's great because when you get into Ozzy's truck, it's got like shamrock stickers everywhere. And she asks, "Are you Irish?" And he's like, "No, no. You just like the culture? Not at all." So little delivery like that. But then it gets really sweet because he asks, "Are you Tori Redding's daughter?" "Yes." "How is she doing?" She says, "Oh, she died last year." And then you can tell it hits him hard, and he gets real sad. And then he says, "I'm sorry." She says, "Oh, did you know her?" Yes. And he's fighting back tears. And because Ozzy is mentally impaired, he just says, "She was very nice to me." So kind of a little sweet, tender moment. So yeah, really liked Mark Holton's performance once again as Ozzy. Very likable, very short. I think maybe a total of 10 minutes here and there, but really liked it. And that's about it acting wise. That I really enjoyed. The rest of the cast is pretty forgettable. First off, we got the main girl, Tori's daughter. She's not unlikable, but she's nothing special. You're not going to remember anything by her at all, other than maybe she's a little cute. Um, she doesn't do anything memorable. She doesn't perform anything memorably. She's just there to deliver her lines and leave. So didn't like her, didn't dislike her. She's just there, and she's about the best one in the whole group. Other than they meet a couple boys. One is like an ex-boyfriend of one of the girls. The other is going to be this wannabe filmmaker. Filmmaker's okay. He's likable, but he again, like this main girl, is nothing special. And like I said, that's the best of the bunch because the worst are yet to come. We got the ex-boyfriend who's just he's the ex-boyfriend of one of the other sorority sisters, and he's just a dumbass, and he's just there to try to hook up with his ex again, which he does twice, and it's just stupid. And then let's talk about his ex, which is I don't know her name. She's the black girl, and she's nothing special too. She's annoying in some parts with like her dialogue, and there's a scene where she's trying to seduce her ex-boyfriend by mopping the floor, and it just comes off real lame. So she's not really likable either. Then we have the hippie chick, the one who's behind all this going green type of stuff for the sorority, and she's pretty annoying. Her line delivery is horrible. Most of her lines are about what's environmentally safe, this and that. Let's get to working, guys. We're not going to get anything done, blah, blah, blah. And she comes off as not really this annoying bitch, but just annoying. And she's one of those people like, oh, she's coming here. She's going to ruin our day. Like a Debbie Downer. So she's unlikable. And the other person we have to deal with is the party girl. And I mean party girl by she's blonde and all she wants to do is get drunk and, I don't know, smoke weed or whatever. She's the worst character in this film. I don't like a single second when she's on film. She's like, there's two types of asshole characters, right, in a horror film. You have, like, Melissa from Friday the 13th Part 7. She's this mean, manipulative bitch that you just can't stand, but she's not so bad that you just hate her every time she's on screen. You're just waiting for the killer to get her. And when she gets her, or when the killer gets her, you're just like, finally, yes, she got what she deserved. This blonde in Leprechaun Returns is just so unlikable, and her acting is so horrible, and she's such an evil person that you want her to get killed just so you don't have to see her on screen anymore. Worst character in the whole film. I was so glad that she was taken out when she was, but the problem is she was in it a little bit too long. And that's all the characters. We'll get with the gore. The gore I thought was pretty darn decent for a low budget film. If this was a sci-fi original / Lionsgate film, the copy I watched online, I'm assuming it was uncut, even though there was no swear words in it. So I don't know. But the gore that I saw was pretty good. I mentioned spoilers, so you're watching at your own risk. When Ozzy gets it, poor Ozzy, he gets splashed with the well water. And the leprechaun's still alive, obviously, because there's a line he drops in the movie. He says, if you don't destroy the leprechaun totally, you haven't destroyed the leprechaun. So, which is true. There was parts of him left over. He melted at the end of the first one, which was cool. This movie started with him getting the 4-leaf clover shot into his mouth and him falling down the well and melting. But anyways, he's still alive in the well. Ozzy splashed with the water, and as he's driving away, his stomach starts hurting, which is really kind of cool. And Ozzy's running in the woods, yelling and screaming. And the gore here, because the leprechaun literally bursts out of his belly. Like his hands pop out and his feet pops out and his head pops out. Blood, sinew, lots of stuff. Really cool. We see Ozzy then laying on the ground with guts and stuff. Leprechaun's covered in the entrails, gets his hat, cleans himself off. Really good gore. We have a head-crushing scene. We have someone cut in half with the solar panels, and they slide down to an okay effect. And we got some head impalements. You know, the gore is pretty decent in this film. Really liked it. The score sometimes is really good being creepy. One of my favorite parts is like this really creepy score, and as the girls are running back to the cabin to figure out their plan to defeat the leprechaun, there's this really cool shot of him like on the top of a hill behind like, you know, some lights or whatever and some mist, and he looks really intimidating for being like a little 3'2" guy or whatever he is. And the score helped that. But there's a scene where there's three people left. There's the wannabe filmmaker who I mentioned, who has a really cool death. Kind of unbelievable, but it's really cool. And then you got the main lead and then the black girl. And the leprechaun is after them, and he decides to stand back. So he's going to distract the leprechaun so the girls can get away. And for some reason, they threw in this really bad, stupid, like, hero theme. And I was just groaning. I'm like, that was a dumb choice. And the theme itself just sucked. So, score is hit and miss. Overall, it's okay. But that hero theme was horrible. Let's get with the jokes. I laughed my ass off with some of these one-liners, like, and there's some nods to other movies. Like there's a scene where the basement has flooded and the main girl goes down to see what the problem is, and you see the leprechaun's hat floating in the water to a knockoff of the Jaws theme, and it's great. And then suddenly you see the hat go under the water, like the shark's fin goes under the water. That had me laughing my ass off. Same scene, the leprechaun's head pops out of the water like Martin Sheen in Apocalypse Now, and he says, "I love the smell of me gold in the morning." That's fun. He gets his head knocked off, and then he puts it back on and tells the girl she gives great head. Stuff like that. It's funny, it's cheesy, but one of my favorite lines is, I think he's going after the hippie girl, and she calls him a troll, and he says, "A troll? Well, that's a little uncalled for, don't you think?" Stuff like that. And then, like, he's still got the mannerisms and the stuff from the first film, like he has to clean shoes. So after she's running away, the shoes are a mess because she threw all the shoes at him, and he's picking them up and organizing them. And then he picks up some clogs, and he looks at it, and he throws them in the trash, and he says something like, "It's a good thing these shoes are endangered species," or something like that, or throws them in the trash and says that's where they belong. It was a fun joke. So overall, I laughed at a lot of his jokes. That's about it. There is some scenes where it drags a little bit. But overall, it's a fun 90 minutes. I love that once Ozzy is killed, which is this is a totally new thing, his ghost comes back to try to help Tori's daughter. Like find a little map that he's buried in the basement, which was marked off by saying Tori, Alex, Nathan, and Ozzy. Another cool reference to the original. And I like how he can't speak for some reason as a ghost, and he's trying to explain the whole situation that happened in the first one with charades. Mark Holton's physical comedy is actually really, really good. Oh, speaking of Gore, he's walking around with his guts hanging out. So she hands him saran wrap, and he puts the guts back in and wraps it around. And then as he walks through the wall, the saran wrap falls. So there's little fun little stuff like that. So overall, Leprechaun Returns, I had a fun time. Not great, but it was decent overall. Do I recommend Leprechaun Returns? Sure. I mean, I do recommend that you see the first one first. Just in case you need to know the story of Ozzy and Tori, and Nathan and Alex aren't really mentioned other than that one scene. But It's a fun 90 minutes. It doesn't drag too much in the middle, like I said it does, but Lyndon Porco really makes me have a lot of fun with this Leprechaun character. If they make more, I'll say this: I didn't like the ending. I'll say that. I like how they defeated the Leprechaun, and what was cool is they did get him to blow up. I mean, you've seen it in the trailer. He's blown up, and then there's all these little mini leprechauns attacking the girls and stuff, and it reminded me of the mini ashes from like Army of Darkness. That was a fun scene, but I won't spoil this. But after the Leprechaun is defeated, there's going to be a scene to show that he's still alive. I did not like that at all. I thought it was added on, and it didn't need to be. It would have been cool if it was a definitive death, but this whole where we see him once again, didn't like it at all. But it's setting up a sequel, and I'll tell you what: if they have a sequel and Lyndon Porco is back as the Leprechaun, I'll be extremely happy because his performance and portrayal was great and fun. So overall, not a waste of time. Decent flick. Lyndon Porco is great. It was great seeing Mark Holton back. Characters pretty much sucked or were not memorable, but it is what it is. Gore was decent. So overall, I do highly recommend. Well, not highly. I do recommend that you watch. Oh shit, I don't have it. There you go. Leprechaun Returns. Not the best in the series, definitely not the worst. It's far above parts 2 and Back to the Hood. Or not Back to the Hood. Back to the Hood was great. The original Hood, Leprechaun in the Hood, far better than those two. So yeah, I'm not going to rank the series, but I will say it's better than those. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, comment below, click the bell, share, whatever. Finally done with the Leprechaun series. I'm thinking of going back to the Child's Play series and review that because I've only done the first 3 films. I have to go back to the Ninja Turtles films and review them. I have some videos coming up about me dealing with a person online. I got to get all the information for that. So yeah, but in the end, I will just say cheers. Oh wait, I will say this: there is a funny scene where you see the Leprechaun riding on a drone, those flying machines. Loved it. But yeah, in the end, I'll just say cheers and Papa?